welcome back to Fine Art Diary. Today we are going to use real gold in this abstract painting and we'll see how beautiful effect it can create in a painting. I'm going to use the traditional way of using gold into this artwork. Along with this, we are also going to experiment with some very interesting texture and I'm going to show everything step by step. So before doing anything, let's check the materials I'm going to use today. First of all, I am going to use this texture paste. You can see the viscosity of it. It is quite thick. Our second material is this woven jute. I am going to use this for creating the texture. Also, I am going to use this textured paper just to get the impression of the random texture from this paper. I am also going to use some pigments. The brands I am using over here is Schminke, Sennelier and Citius pigments. The acrylic gloss medium, it is going to work as a binder for the pigments. Some big spatulas. Also some small ones. Some bristle brushes I am going to use. Apart from these, I am going to use gold, a sponge and acrylic colors. Now let's get started. This is my today's canvas, 18 by 18 inches, stretched on a board. Now before doing anything, let's give some marks on the canvas which will direct us to make the composition. So maybe the path of the composition will be something like this. The marks are not very strict, but these are only the guidelines. I'm just trying to create a movement on the canvas. Now let's take the texture paste and apply according to these guidelines. That's fine, now let's spread it a little bit. Here I am spreading the texture paste according to the guideline so that the texture also can have a sense of movement. Bringing back the directional line in a graffito style. Now I am placing the woven jute and the textured paper to get some different texture out of it. Now I am taking some fiber beads and will place in the same direction. Generally, if I need, I take the impression of the beads but don't keep it on the canvas. But in this particular case, I am going to keep these beads on the canvas. It will be a part of this painting. Now with the help of the spatula, let's press it a little bit so that it can go inside the texture paste and can stick to the canvas. That's fine, I will leave it for some time to let it completely dry. Alright, the surface is completely dry and looking very interesting to me. Now we'll start adding the colors. I'm going to use real gold towards the end of this painting, but before that, let's use golden color all over the surface. This layer is to make sure that each and every part of the canvas is properly covered. You can see everything is properly covered. Now once again I will let it dry and will move forward. Now let's take some pigments. First of all, I am taking Caput Mortuum. It's a very dark pigment. Spreading it here and there. Our next pigment is Prussian Blue. I'm just randomly placing it here and there. I am also going to use Herculaneum Blue. Then I am going to use Ochre Dunkel. Thanks for your comment and letting me know the actual pronunciation of this pigment. Also, Yellow Earth. Now it's time to use some acrylic medium. It is going to work as a binder for the pigments. Wherever I spread the pigments, I am giving some drops of medium to bind it with the canvas. Now let's moist the canvas so that it can be nicely spread. Now using a bristle brush, let's spread the pigments. Here the idea is all the pigments will be deposited to the grooves of the textures and the texture will be exaggerated and will be seen. That's alright. Now once again I will let it dry completely and will move to the next step. Now the surface is completely dry. Now let's take some brighter colors. And for that I am using unbleached titanium and titanium white. Let's paint the bottom of the canvas. Now I have started thinking of the construction of the composition, and the contrast between this dark and light will help to create some shapes, and that's what I need right now. This is fine. Now let's blur the edge a little bit, and for that I am spraying some water at the edge of the shape and let it flow on its own so that it can create some organic path. Alright, now everything is dry and I am taking burnt umber and Payne's grey. Here I am planning to give a glaze on this bright white so that the underneath texture can be visible once again. Now let's take a piece of cloth and wipe off the excess paint. Very gently I am just dabbing it over the surface and you can see the texture is visible once again. It is still white but given a glaze to it. Now this is looking interesting to me. It is looking a part of this painting. This is the other side of the canvas, and now it's time to use the real gold over here in this area. And as I told, I'm going to use the traditional way. The first material will be gold leaf. It is a 22 karat real gold, you can see, and each pack has 5 leaves in it. Apart from this, we also have gold flakes like this, and it can be very useful if we want to spread it. If at all you can't arrange real gold, this kind of imitation leaf is also available in the market, and that can be used in the same way I am using the real gold. Apart from this, we also need a leafing size. It will help the leaves to stick it on the canvas. Now let's take the size. I am diluting it with water a little bit, and let's apply to the canvas. So wherever I am planning to put the gold leaves, I am covering that area with a size. Alright, now I am going to leave it for 5 minutes. Now the size is ready to work. I am taking the gold leaf on a flat sable brush and placing it like this on the size. Now let's gently dab it. That's fine. In the same way, I'm going to cover the entire area. That's fine. I kept the surface for a few hours to dry, and now I will gently brush off the excess particles by using a bristle brush. That's alright, I can see there is no flakes now. Now let's do the same thing in this particular area. For this area, instead of using the leaves, I'm going to use the flakes. Sometimes after brushing off the leaves, I accumulate all the flakes and particles to use it in this way. Now after drying very similar way, I have to brush off the excess flakes. Now I have to do exactly the same in this area also. Now the surface is entirely dry, and coming back to the pigments, here I am taking Caput Mortuum. Let's place it some of the areas. I am also taking Ochre Dunkel, and in the same way taking Acrylic Gloss Medium. Now let's moist the canvas. Now let's spread it. The reason to use the pigments once again is to get back the textures. Once again I will let it dry completely. Now the surface is dry and I am taking antique gold color. This time I will be using the fingertip and will touch some of the areas. Now giving some suggestion of some red accents. We are almost done with this painting. A vast land to cultivate. Silent, rough, unbroken. A river moves through it, piercing the layers, flowing, halting, then resuming again, leaving marks that remain in time. The crust hard, unyielding, a silence that refuses. Through pain, through tears, the ground softens, becomes a vessel, a space to welcome. Joy returns, not passing, not fragile, it stays, clad in a golden robe, and the golden light, piercing to the inconscient, moves downward, touching what was hidden, unfolding what was bound, until the dark itself shines. A golden river flows. Hope you enjoyed today's session. If you have any suggestion or questions, please write down in the comment box. I will try to answer those. And don't forget to subscribe the channel because many more videos like this are coming in future. Thank you so much for watching. Happy painting!